Howdy! Thanks for watching another ARFCOM thingy. I got my sticky little fingers all over this rowdy 12-gauge bullpup called an ATI Bulldog, and I plan to tell you all about it, but first, I want to tell you about the terrific night vision products made by the humble folks at TNVC.com. In addition to night vision, their website has all your radiant needs covered. That's some quality night vision. Okay, so I need to come clean. I've got a complicated relationship with both shotguns and bullpups, but I have to tell you up front that for some reason, I just love this thing. Shotguns in general are objectively superior to handguns and inferior to short rifles for home defense for a whole host of reasons I'm just not getting into right now. But the short version is carbines hold more ammo, can perforate soft armor, are more precise even at close range, are more reliable, and most importantly, they can produce way faster split times. And quickly putting holes in the right components to cause hydraulic failure in a timely manner is what this is all about, right? But shotguns are still pretty good and they're super versatile. Plus, few man-portable weapons are capable of producing tissue destruction on the scale 12-gauge buckshot produces. And the total projectile payload in a shotgun is impressive. 5 rounds of 12 pellet double-aught means a total of 60 projectiles, which is 2 full mags for an AR. 5 rounds of number 4 buck means a total of 135 projectiles, and each hit is legitimately devastating. I have to hand it to the shotty fans. 12-gauge buckshot really is absolutely brutal. So, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying shotguns are totally useless for anything but doors and birds, but they're just not my jam. And I understand many of you folks prefer shotguns for defensive use for a variety of halfway decent reasons, so I won't bag on them too hard. They remain a legitimate choice for self-defense, so long as you don't do something stupid like load them with birdshot. And I really like the look and shortness of bullpups in general, even though the design fundamentally introduces some ergonomic problems. But a magazine-fed bullpup shotgun goes a long way toward addressing some of the shortcomings of shotguns as fighting weapons. So you're going to hear a lot of push and pull from me on the other hand kind of statements in this video. The ATI Bulldog is, as I mentioned, a semi-auto, magazine-fed bullpup 12-gauge shotgun with a 3-inch chamber. The bullpup design puts the trigger forward of the magazine, bolt, and receiver, which reduces overall length without shortening barrel length. That's even more useful in a shotgun design than for rifles, but for totally different reasons. As barrel length increases in any gun, velocity increases until you reach something so impractically long that friction exerts a greater force than gas pressure and the bullet begins to slow. For .22 LR, that point is around 16 inches, give or take. For shotguns, that point is probably more than 3 feet, but the amount of velocity gain between a 14-inch and an 18-inch barrel is usually less than 100 feet per second. So barrel length is less critical to terminal performance in a shotgun than it is in a rifle, but here in Freedom Land, we have a ridiculous, arbitrary legal restriction on barrel length. So a bullpup design allows a shotgun to have an 18-inch barrel while remaining only slightly longer than the legal minimum 26-inch overall length. The first thing that jumps out about the Bulldog is it just looks hella rad. I love the aesthetics of bullpups in general, and the lines here are pleasantly reminiscent of the Bushmaster M17S with a little bit of Vera for flavor.
6 men came to kill me one time. The best of them carried this. It's a Callahan full-bore auto lock. Customized trigger, double cartridge thorough gauge. It is my very favorite gun.
It accepts 5 and 10 round mags, which are both $35 on ATI's website. This one came with 3 5-round magazines. The magazines have this Picatinny rail mount on the bottom, which allows them to be mounted to the rail if you're into that sort of thing.
There you go.
Give it a gas!
The magazines also have a rather unique bolt hold-open design that has this little flappy bit that sticks out the back of the magazine to engage the bolt hold-open. The bolt catch lever is fairly AR-ish in shape and the location relative to the mag well, as is the magazine catch, but as ergonomically friendly as these controls are on the AR-15, they seem out of place here. I practiced reloading several different ways, and what made the most sense to me from an economy of motion perspective was to use my left hand to hit the magazine release, then retrieve a fresh mag with the left hand, insert it, and hit the bolt catch. Honestly, that's not bad. No, it isn't as fast as an AR, but it's still a lot faster than reloading most shotguns. From a defense point of view, if you have expended your 5 or 10 round mag and have to reload, you're officially having bad time. At the point where circumstances have caused you to discharge several rounds with any gun and you are still fighting a determined adversary, your chances of survival are rapidly dwindling. I'm not saying efficient reloads aren't important, but maybe not worth getting wrapped around the axle over. In a competition environment, though, that's a whole nother story. 3-gun match shotgun stages are almost entirely about ammunition management and reloading. The shooting is rarely very challenging, and it comes down to which competitor got lucky enough to clear the stage without a stoppage and managed to stuff his scattergun faster. So mag-fed semi-autos are a huge advantage, and not having a mag tube sticking out 4 feet in front of you doesn't hurt either. It also doesn't hurt that it comes with 3 Beretta Mobile Pro pattern chokes. So if you're into 3-gun or you're thinking about getting into it, this might be a solid choice. And if you're one of those folks who prefers a shotgun for defense, there's a lot to like here. Being magazine fed means it's super easy to take advantage of one of the shotgun's best features, versatility. You could keep a couple of mags loaded with buck and a couple mags loaded with slugs and swap out ammo types quickly. As a fighting gun, it's short, handy, reasonably lightweight, and will store in a lot of places most guns wouldn't fit. Disassembly starts off pretty easy. Just like an AR, you simply push these captive pins through.
1, 2, and 3. Okay, I'm okay.
Not one to stoop to something as gauche as reading destruction booklets. It took me a second to realize they had hidden the 3rd pin under the adjustable and thankfully removable cheek riser. The optic rail is more or less at the same height above the stock as on an AR, so most sights and optics, including the provided polymer sights, should mount and align just fine out of the box. I can't imagine any circumstances where you would actually want even more height over bore, but I guess if you want to mount your enormous antique night vision sight to a shotgun, the Bulldog can make that happen for you. Once all 3 pins are out, the upper separates from the lower easily. From here, you could probably do most routine cleaning and maintenance, but to access the gas system and recoil bits, you have to use an Allen key to remove the handguard and a provided spanner to remove the barrel nut. Presumably, ATI or a third party could offer a polymer handguard someday, which would make the system a little bit lighter. The Bulldog has a cross-bolt trigger blocking safety at the front of the trigger guard and a long transfer bar leading back to the fire control group, which looks to be inspired by the AK. It only comes with a single sling swivel at the rear, but you could attach another one to the pick rail up front, or if you're gangsta, you could just run some 550 cord through the vent holes on top. It also has this shoulder thing which goes up.
You know what a barrel shroud is? I actually don't know what a barrel shroud is.
Okay, because it's in your legislation.
It's a shoulder thing that goes up.
Which I think substantially improves the aesthetics and may reduce the severity of burns you get if your digits dangle off the end of the handguard. There are a handful of things about this that aren't great, and I want to start off with the only point that really bothers me. It has this ARS charging handle which inexplicably has 2 latches. It's like the opposite of ambidextrous. You have to depress both latches or the charging handle won't move. If I bought one of these, the very first thing I would do is drive out that roll pin so as to have a latch on only one side of the charging handle. If anyone asked me, I would have told them this deserves to have a folding side charging handle up front on the handguard, but nobody asked me. The other things are far less important to me and mostly just a consequence of being a Bullpup design. The ergonomics are a bit awkward, like pretty much all Bullpups, and like most of them, the only advice for people who use the devil's hand is don't be left-handed. Sorry, Ian. Likewise, that long trigger bar and AK-ish fire control group conspire to create an awful spongy trigger with no distinct wall. But it's not overly heavy and it has a reasonably short travel and reset. Besides, who cares about the trigger on a shotgun anyway, you absolute nerd? You aren't using it for sporting clays or precision rifle matches. And I'm not very fond of crossbolt safeties, but on something like this, which is never really going to be fired from the other shoulder, it matters a little less. Still, I prefer a rotating or lever style thumb safety as the almighty intended. But except for that stupid charging handle, most of these criticisms that I have are rather superficial. Shooting this thing is every bit as fun as you would think. The gas system makes recoil quite manageable, and because the bore is in line with the stock, it shoots pretty flat for a shotgun. The bottom line here is the Bulldog is a short, handy little semi-auto, detachable magazine-fed shotgun for about $500. To keep things in perspective, a basic bitch Remington 870 home defense shotgun retails for around $400 new. That it looks rad and adds the benefits of a Bullpup design are just gravy. Even if it had some pretty major flaws, I'd be willing to forgive an awful lot on those grounds alone, but it really doesn't have any. What few nits I have to pick are relatively minor. The fit and finish are well above what I would consider par for a $500 gun. It is an innovative and affordable design and a market space with few peers. So far as I know, there is no other semi-auto detachable mag Bullpup 12 gauge at anywhere near this price, and that's something ATI can really be proud of. As always, I am not here to tell you what to do. You are the only one who can decide what tools will best fit your budget and your particular circumstances. I hope I've given you enough information to make that decision. If there's something I missed though, or if I got anything wrong, be sure to tell us down there in the comments. If you like what we do and want to help us keep doing it, please support the folks who support us by visiting tnvc.com, your source for the finest gluten-free night vision products to make you the bump in the night. And if you'd like to support us more directly, why not take a look at the fly threads in our Teespring store? Or maybe you just want to try your chance at that free shirt. Whoever has the highest voted comment that contains the phrase Callahan full bore auto lock whenever we get around to looking gets a free t-shirt from our Teespring store. Thanks for watching. I love you.